All right, what's good, everybody? For all my listeners out there, man, y'all get to hear it first right here on Media Made Magazine. I got the opportunity tonight, man, to sit down with one of these cats that been doing this for a long, long time, man. You know what I'm saying? So sitting next to me is my man, Shug. Shug, what's good, baby?
Too much, man. Just grinding, man. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good. So for all my listeners out there, man, I gotta let y'all know, man, this is Media Made Magazine, Media Made Music, Media Made TV, Media Made everything. You know what I mean? We in the building, we do what we do, man. And happy Easter, everybody. I just want to let that be known. You know what I'm saying? So Shug, baby. Man, it's been a long time, baby, since you've been in the building, baby. You know what I mean?
It's been a minute, man.
Yo, for all my listeners, man, this cat been doing his thing for quite a while, man, but I ain't gonna tell his story. I'm gonna let him tell his own story. So, Shug, man, tell everybody, man, when you originally began, man, when you originally began your music journey.
Wow. Well, I began the journey in 6th grade, but I signed a Def Jam back in 91.
Hold on. Y'all heard that, right? Y'all did hear that, right? He signed to Def Jam in 1991. All right, my bad.
No, it's funny you say that because a lot of these cats don't know that I was the first one in Arizona to sign a major record deal, right? They thinking it's other people, right? So they need to check their history.
Yeah, no, and I understand that 100%. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it started in 91 and still doing it, man. So, and actually things are getting bigger now than they were even back then. So, yeah.
So when you first started, what was the vision? I mean, because in 91, that was early, man. Everybody really wasn't picking up no microphone and thinking that they can kind of appeal to the masses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So tell us, man, you know, your story and what was your inspiration on why you felt like you can do it better than most at that time?
Well, back then, man, to be honest, I was just a kid out the neighborhood happy to sign a record deal, right? And everybody wanted to be on Def Jam at that time, man.
Absolutely.
So, and then at the same time, I was an angry kid. So, you know, with the stuff that was going on in the neighborhoods and you know, the police brutality and all the gang violence and all that stuff. So, signing a record deal and being taken out to the neighborhood was really a blessing.
Right.
And to be honest with you, I don't really think I was ready for fame back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because I probably would have went crazy.
Right.
But, so it's been a journey, man. But the things I've learned from then till now,
right? You
know what I mean? Is amazing. So
I absolutely understand that. And then, you know, what made it so special then is not, first of all, Def Jam even looking in the Southwest for an artist was incredible. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, so that in itself, you had to be way different than what they was hearing back then. You know what I mean? Because, first of all, you know, Def Jam coming this far, you know, out of Arizona, you know, out of Tucson, Arizona, that in itself, man, spoke big. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, when that all started, I know you said you wasn't kind of really ready for fame at that time back then, you know what I mean? But what made you actually create some of the material that you was creating back then? You know what I mean? Like, what spurred that on? You know what I mean? Because you was kind of doing things, you was kind of already ahead of the game, you know what I mean, back then.
Yeah, well, the thing too was like, I was always good at writing stories, right? So me seeing something or me being involved in something or just taking somebody else's story or my own story and putting it down on paper, I was always good at that.
Right.
So, and then bringing it to life, I was blessed to be always good with that. So, and then I had a homeboy who was a concert promoter.
Okay.
So he would put me on all these shows and, you know, throughout the Southwest region. So there was, you know, shows I was on where I was actually better than the main guy they came to see.
Usually where I go.
Yeah. So and I was always a little confident cat.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's how I started. My name started circulating, and then I had a concert with DJ Quick and Cypress Hill, and DJ's Quick manager at the time came up to me and asked me if I had a demo tape.
Okay.
And back then you had to have a demo tape.
You had to have a demo tape.
Yeah. So I gave it to him. 2 weeks later, I got a call from Russell Simmons. They wanted to sign me to Def Jam.
Whoa.
So that's pretty much, you know, how that happened. And a lot of people don't know that my demo tape got J.O. Felony his record deal with Def Jam.
Wow.
And it got there was a female out of Detroit named Boss.
Okay.
So it was like a package deal.
Mm-hmm.
But they wanted me.
Right.
So Greedy Greg had these other artists, so that's how they ended up getting their deal.
Wow.
Yeah. So
see,
that's how that
so that's a little bit of history, man. A lot of people don't know. You know what I mean? Because actually, you've been in the game so long. There's so much history. There's so many things that you've done, and you can kind of explain different stories about the misconceptions that people may have. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody think that they know one story, but they don't really know the real story. You dig?
Right.
What was the first? All right. So when you came out in '91, you did your thing and all of that, man. What was the first track, if you can remember, that got you cracking, man? What was the first?
It was actually a song called Night Stalker, and that song was talking about the police. That song, matter of fact, before the album was even out,
okay,
I was on tour with Quick and Too Short and some shows with Biggie and all these. Well, Biggie actually came later, but
right.
And it was, X-Clan, excuse me. But that song was so big around the country because Def Jam would give out snippets, right? These little tapes with the songs on it. And I never forget, we was in Flint, Michigan. My album wasn't even out yet, but they put me on this tour because of the buzz.
Right.
And we get to the arena, and there are people picketing with picket signs. No Shug, because they didn't want me to sing that song.
What?
Because it was talking about the police.
Right.
So NWA had already went through the whole, thing with the police.
Right.
Ice-T had already went through with them.
Right.
Now here comes Shug.
Right.
So we get there, we pull up in a tour bus, and I see all these people with these signs, no Shug, and I'm like, how the hell these people know me? You know what I mean? Yeah, so, and then even at the radio station, we get to the radio station, and there are people outside the radio station, they didn't want me to perform that song. So I get up on the stage, and swear to God to you, man, a line of police came and stood in front of the stage with their arms crossed, like looking at us. So, yeah, I told my homeboy that was doing my music at the time, starting the music and stopping the music. I told him, I said, before you put this track on, and I pointed at, I asked the crowd, I told the crowd, I said, if something happened to me tonight, I said, y'all know who did it, and I pointed at the police.
Right.
And I told him to start that track, and when the song came on, you had 15,000 people out there singing the song like the album was already out.
Right.
It blew my mind, literally.
I imagine it did.
So I'm singing the song, but at the same time in my head, I'm like, how the hell they know this song like this? Because they actually singing it with me. So that's when I knew I was born to do this.
Right.
And the buzz was real, but Def Jam ended up having to take me off the tour because I was getting death threats from the police.
Wow.
So that's how that started, man. And then the rest, just the trickle down effect and just history after that.
So that is absolutely a bit of history that we didn't even know, right? Because I'm thinking, like, I've been around a long time, and I've been around any of these places. I think I even was there a couple of times when you was performing. I think maybe Tucson. I think Quick was there. I think it's something happened that night or whatever the case was. But I didn't even know that all of this was going on in the background. I didn't know that they was kind of basically protesting you because of the lyrics that you were saying and the tracks that you had at that time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
all across the country.
Wow, yo. So I'm just saying, you heard it first again, right here. Shug is telling the story, man, about the things that you had to go through, man, back in '91, man, just to be able to kind of perform your music. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
it was crazy.
That's kind of crazy, man. So after that, man, after the tour and all of that, man, how did the album do? You know what I mean? Like, tell the story, man, of how the album went and the different things that happened while the album was out. And,
But actually, the album didn't come out till almost end of 95. But when the album came out, it flew off the shelves because it was already so popular around the country.
Yeah.
The reason why it came out in 95, and it was supposed to come out in 92, Def Jam, I would open up magazines and it was saying I was from Los Angeles. I'm not from Los Angeles, I'm from Arizona.
Right.
And they knew this when they signed me.
Right.
So I would call the publicist and I would, why is the magazine saying I'm from LA? They wanted me to say I was from LA.
Right.
Because Arizona wasn't popping.
At all.
At all. You know what I mean? So, and then you got me and Cube sound alike. So me and Scarface sound alike. Me and Tupac sound alike.
Right.
So in all these magazines, that's who they're comparing me with.
Right. Right.
And I know all these guys, you know what I mean? But in my mind, I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, I'm better than them.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking.
Right. In your head, absolutely.
I'm from Arizona. Say I'm from Arizona.
Right.
Don't say I'm from somewhere else. So then we shot a music video, the Western Hills Funk video. They wanted me to shoot the video in Los Angeles. And I said, no, we shooting it in Tucson.
Okay.
That's how it ended up getting shot in Tucson.
Yeah.
Because I was adamant about we shooting it in Tucson. So they held up the album, and that's why it ended up coming out in 95. But when it came off, the thing with platinum.
Right.
That should have been a 2 or 3 million.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
So,
it's amazing, man, how politics sometimes interferes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With the development of an artist. You know what I mean? Like, an artist is popping, and a lot of people don't understand, like, sometimes you got to hit the iron while it's hot. You know what I'm saying? And then if you allow, which they did, they allowed it to sit on the shelf for a couple of years. You know what I'm saying? Now that kills the buzz a little bit. You know what I mean? And it just goes on and on and on, man. And me personally, man, I feel like that shouldn't have happened to you. You know what I mean? And I've known you for years, and we kind of really never sat down and we had this conversation about what really happened back then. You know what I mean? Like how they kind of really trying to stunt your growth.
That's exactly what it was.
You know what I'm saying? Like, man, but then listen, but you came back, you know what I'm saying? And you kind of let them know, hey, man, listen, that, you know what I mean? That don't stop my show at all. You dig what I'm saying? So after that, man, you know what I mean? You came out with a couple more tracks down the line, you know what I mean? Did you kind of switch up your style a little bit, or what did you do, man, to kind of to go past that? You know what I mean? To kind of let them know that y'all ain't gonna stop me.
Well, I think I grew.
Okay.
From this angry 21-year-old that was just angry all the time. And I had to really sit down one day and like, man, what you angry about? You know what I mean? You blessed. So I think that's when the music started to grow. Right. I started to grow. And just really, really realizing you can't hold on to yesterday. You know what I mean? The sun don't shine on yesterday. You gotta keep on moving. So,
absolutely dope.
Yeah, and that's what I started to do. And it's amazing how things, just like I said, just start falling in place. And the thing what really got me back into music, I got out of it for a while.
Yeah.
I was burnt out.
Yeah.
And I was in Los Angeles, and this guy that DJ Quicknam knew, old guy. And we all walked into this little restaurant thing, and he was in there. And, and he came up to me, and he was like, "You Shug?" I said, "Yeah." And again, I don't know how he know me. But he said to me, man, the world needs your voice. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I just sit there and looked at this guy, and I'm like, the world need my voice. He said, yeah, man, the world needs your voice. Yeah. And he started talking about that song, Night Stalker.
Right.
This was years later. So that right there was like, he just put the plug in the wall, man. I had to turn the light on.
Yeah.
And that's when I really got back into it. Mm-hmm. And then the music, I started noticing even in my own music, the growth, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. So let me just say this to my listeners out there, right? Mm-hmm. So the time when Shug was talking about him being an angry young man at the time, I was around. I absolutely was real. And if Shug was angry, I was mad as a motherfucker. Let me just say that. You know what I mean? Because, we was all living at least us. And this is a question that I'm getting ready to ask you, man, because you was able to separate yourself from some of the things that we was doing back then. You know what I mean? And I want you to kind of talk a little bit about that, man. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't understand that, back then, being from Arizona, me being from another place, of course, I got a different perspective of what's happening. But we was all some really angry young men. You know what I mean? Yes. And I want you to talk a little bit about, man, how you was able not to get caught up in the drug and the street element of that was absolutely happening back then. Because I know Shug always stayed different from a lot of us of the things that we was doing back then. I just need you to talk about that, man, because that was hard to do.
Yeah, me, I've always been headstrong.
Okay.
And I've always been a leader. I believe, right? I never wanted to follow the trend.
Right.
Either we walk next to each other, or we ain't walking at all.
Okay.
'Cause I ain't walking behind nobody, and I don't want nobody walking behind me, right? So I've always had that mentality. So, and I always kind of knew exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I knew if I go down this Ave, 9 times out of 10, this is what's going to happen.
Right.
I don't want that to happen.
Right.
So I always kept that up here. And then I had other people that was kind of staying on me also. Because believe me, there was times where I was get sucked into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or people calling me, Shug, man, we need you. Nah, I can't do that. Because I always knew that, there was a dead end to it. So I was just kind of blessed, man, to kind of be headstrong and focus on what it was that I wanted. And the only way to get there was to stay out of trouble. Trouble was easy to get into, but it's hard as hell to get out of it.
Man, absolutely, man. You don't got to tell me, man. Shit, I know. You know what I mean? Listen, hey, you know what I'm saying? And not saying that, it veered me or took me out of the things that I was doing, man. Yeah. I just believe that back then, if I was as focused, you know what I mean, as brothers like yourself, man, some things might have been a little different, you know what I mean? And as far as for me in the music game, you know what I mean? Because I too was involved in a lot of music stuff like that, but wasn't as focused. So, let's fast forward, you know what I mean? And you've grown. The cat in LA told you, man, that the world needs to hear your song, to hear your sound. The lights is back on, you know what I mean? And where did you go from there? What did you do at that point?
Oh, I went to the house, start writing. Putting out songs here and there, and just really trying to tap into, and all I heard was, man, Shug, you need to make a song like this trap song, or you need to make a song like this, you know what I mean, like that. And my whole thing was, I'm gonna be Shug, you know what I mean? I ain't changing for whatever's going on right now. I'm gonna stay me. And I just used to tell all them cats, the world go around in a circle, right? So what started here is gonna come back there. Look at where we at now.
Absolutely.
It's back there.
Yeah.
So, and I've always, like I said about being headstrong, I've always believed in that. So, and as long as the streets are here, which the streets gonna be here long after we dead and gone, people gonna need that type of music. All that other stuff is gonna be here for a hot second, out the next one. So I've always kind of known that, felt that. And that's where I give my music to. And not only that, man, if you get caught up in trying to make music for, say, like the 17 to 25-year-olds, right? Now, down the line, that 17-year-old is now 26. That 25-year-old is now 35. They don't want to hear that no more.
Right.
You got to grow because your audience is growing.
Right.
And if you're blessed enough, then you still get the youngsters because they in the streets.
Right.
They want to hear real life type of stuff.
Right.
So I've always, like I said, I had that mentality. That's what that music is. I was blessed to have this voice and to be able to talk about the things that I talk about. So, and I don't stay away from that.
What's your creative process, man? I mean, I know everybody kind of says they sit down and they write. You know what I mean? And then I know that a lot of us write from life experiences. And I just need you to talk a little bit about, your process, man. Before you go into a studio, of course you've already written, the things that you've done, man. Is there a process, man, that you need? Is there something that has to happen for yourself to be able to perform very well when you're in a studio session or when you're
session?
Yeah.
The studio session really is I kind of look at it as like, besides the stage, that's my haven, right? So
yeah.
I go in there and I get in that booth, I close my eyes for a minute, and I visualize the song, right? Even when I'm writing a song, if I close my eyes and I can't see it, I get rid of the song. Right? So I got to be able to see it.
Right.
So, and there's been many of songs I've thrown away because I wasn't able to see it.
Right.
So, and that's the same thing with going in the studio. And if I'm able to see it, then you get it from here.
Yeah, no doubt.
And that's how I believe you tap into your audience, because if you can feel it, they gonna feel it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? If it's something that's real shallow, it might sound good in the club,
right?
Because the beat is banging,
right?
But what you talking about,
right,
has no substance.
Is it gonna resonate?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Obviously, if it's not gonna resonate, then what we doing? Like, can we make it make sense? You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. So
you know,
that's the process with me. So
yeah, absolutely. So, because we done this several times. For all my listeners out there, y'all don't even understand. Like, me and Shug go back like a long time, like really long time. Like,
long time.
You know what I'm saying? And he done been in some of our issues and all that, man. So, I'm not going to go over and rehash all of the stuff that we've already talked about, man. We're going to talk about this new project, man, that you got going on right now, man. What was the inspiration for the new project, man? Like,
well, the single, me and Big Hutch, man, I've been wanting to do a song with Hutch for a long time. I've been knowing Hutch ever since Easy.
Okay.
Right, we used to all be around each other back then. And I always wanted to do a song with him. Right, we clicked from day one.
Right.
So the way this song came about, I just called him up one day and said, man, we need to do a song together, man. Let's do a track. And I want you to produce it. He said, say no more. The next day, he called me with the track. He already had his verse on it. He already did that. He came up with the hook. So the rest of it was easy for me. So I flew him out here to Phoenix. And we went in the studio, man, knocked it out. And it, just like that. So it's crazy how, and now radio is demanding this song across the country. Yeah.
Whoa.
So it's crazy. And just the whole thing, pay attention, right? So that's the name of the song, pay attention. Everybody say that word all the time. So that's pretty much how it came about. Now I'm working on an album called Three Faces.
Okay.
So, and the reason why it's called Three Faces,
I was gonna ask that. You way ahead. We've been around each other a long time.
Well, it's I think we all have three phases, right? We get mad, we get happy, and we get sad, right? So that's three different emotions, right? That show up on your face.
Yeah.
So on the album, there's gonna be stuff that make you mad. There's gonna be stuff that make you happy, and stuff that's gonna make you sad. So, and that's why I call it Three Faces.
Yeah.
Just giving people a snapshot of life in general. So now.
Yeah. So I seen you and Hutch doing your thing, man. You know what I'm saying? And I see like the video. Like, what was the concept of the video that you put together? Because I kind of seen some of that what y'all was doing. I too, was busy, but I pay attention to my cats. You know what I mean?
You see that?
Yeah. I absolutely pay attention to my family around me that's doing different things. Huh? And I seen, was it you and Hutch? And I seen you and Hutch doing your thing. And I was like, when I get an opportunity, I need to really sit down, man, and kind of really pay attention and listen to this, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I seen the album, and because some things just catch me right away, and I seen pay attention. And I was like, all right, well, I don't know what's happening right now, but that's my man. So I got to call him up and have him come to the office, come up to the studio, man, and let's talk about it. You know what I mean? The concept of the video, like who put that together? What's the? You tell the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Actually, Hutch. He I told him, I said, man, I want a video that's kind of like a little short movie thing. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody really doing that.
No.
Same thing. He said the same thing. Say no more. Because dude is creative, man. So him and Zilla, the guy that directed it, and Zilla's directed a lot of videos. They got together and actually came up with the concept of it, the treatment and all that stuff. And again, the rest was easy for me. All I had to do was show up. So we flew out to Vegas. We wanted to do it in Vegas. And Hutch had already been out there and got all the locations and all that stuff. So, yeah. And like I said, the rest was easy, man. It just came together like a hand in a glove.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And it's easy when the pre-production is already done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you just go out, you don't got to think about a lot of stuff. You just go out and put your thing in, man. So how do you think it's going to be received? Like what's your expectations of what you just done?
I think it's being received better than I thought. Actually, I knew people would like it, right? But I ain't know it would get the reaction that it's getting.
Right.
Especially from radio people. I mean, even radio on the East Coast is demanding this song.
Absolutely.
You know,
yeah.
A guy named John Bencourt. People in the industry know who John Bencourt is. Bencourt. Everything you hear on from Kendrick Lamar to Drake and all that, John Bencourt broke those records.
Okay.
On the radio stuff. He's the one working this record.
Okay.
Because he loved the record so much.
That's what's up, yo.
So,
absolutely.
So this song, I think, man, is really about to do some business.
Do some business, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, man, listen, I already know what it was because I know you. I don't know. You know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying? But when I seen it, you know, like we all got our social media things and, you know, we pay attention to certain things, whatever. And when I seen it, of course, I'm flipping because Sonny will tell you, you know, my team will tell you, I'm busy. You know what I mean? Like I don't handle none of that, whatever. But when I seen it, I was like, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? And then I listened a little bit and I was like, yeah, this is what's up, man. This is absolutely what's up. So I got a question for you, man. Throughout the years that you've been in the industry, how do you feel about it now? Like because you came back, and you came back obviously because you felt that there was something that was missing, that you felt like there was something that you could provide to the industry right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. But overall, man, how you feeling about the things that they've done with our culture? Because we've been doing this forever. You know what I mean? Yeah. I need you to just kind of expand a little bit, man, about the overall thought process that you have, man, when you see some of the things that are happening in the industry today, man.
Well, I think, man, first of all, the streaming stuff is robbery.
Right.
Right.
So I didn't want to say nothing. I just, you know what I mean? I was going to let the artist touch you.
Yep, I'm saying that.
I said it's robbery.
Right.
You know, artists, we should be getting paid for our creativity.
Absolutely.
Or creative nature, all that stuff. The streaming platforms are robbing artists.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was once upon a time the record companies was robbing artists.
Right.
Now the streamers and let's not get it twisted. These record companies own the streaming stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's still them robbing the artists. Now they robbing us even more.
Right.
I mean, with no Vaseline. So,
at all. Like,
yeah, none.
So
it's just
only I'm laughing because I had to hold back my comment. You know what I'm saying?
I'll say it. It's robbing us with no Vaseline, but
right.
It's on one hand it's good for like upcoming artists or people that inspiring to be in the industry.
Right.
Which that's a whole nother topic. But the music, to me, it's so watered down now. It's and that's why I say no substance. That's why I'm trying to put some substance back in the game.
Absolutely.
It's people are so geared towards now just having one song, right?
Right.
And it's like you got a good hook, cool beat. The lyrics don't mean nothing, ain't saying nothing. Then you got a nice hook, cool beat, and that's what music has become now.
Right.
Right. So there's no
artist development.
There's no artist development. There's no nothing. So and everybody wants to sound like whoever's hot.
Right.
At the moment. Right.
Right.
So if you put you put Drake record on and then you put the next artist on, you pretty much listening to Drake. This guy want to sound like Drake.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this guy want to sound like Kendrick. So that's what music has become now. So, and I think it's slowly but surely getting away from that.
Okay.
Because the artist is getting old, mature. So
mature,
older.
Right.
And you can't keep fooling everybody all the time.
And some of these cats got to understand what the play is. You know what I'm saying? And if they don't understand what the play is, then they don't know how to react. They don't know how to be a play ahead of what they think the next play is going to be. You know what I'm saying? So and we here over here at Medium Age, you know what I mean? We understand that 100%. You dig what I'm saying? So that's why, we do the things that we do because we understand the culture for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why, we bring brothers like yourself up here, man, to have them talk about it. So that way, even though you're getting your streams, but you also got an independent thing on your own going on where, you can buy my music, but I need you to buy my music from me.
From me, right.
You know what I mean?
Or at least even if it's streaming, at least give the artist what they're supposed to be getting from the streaming.
Right. So, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and so we just want to make sure that we lend a helping hand to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, you know, like you said, you know, with streaming, the only time anybody possibly can hear it is because they got to go to a streaming service that absolutely is not paying my man what he should be getting paid.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? So if it's up to me, let me blast it on my platform for you to understand what's happening, and then you can go hit that stream button not once but 5 or 10 times. You dig what I'm saying? Because they don't even understand the process, man, of how many streams you got to get $1.
Man. Yeah, exactly.
Man.
Hey, listen, man, I'm not going to get in it. I'm going to try to keep the politics of it, all of it out of it, because, you know, saying go crazy sometimes. It's absolutely robbery. It's absolutely robbery, man. So what's up next for you, man? Just, you know, tell a story, because I don't want to get off track right here, because, you know, I'll go a little crazy.
Do your thing.
What's up next for you, man? Tell the story, man.
Like I say, the album, later on in the year, tour.
Okay.
And then more movies, man.
Oh,
more movies. I really got into this acting thing, man. I got that bug. So
see, we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the movie thing, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What's the movie thing, man? And you got some parts. You looking
at a movie called
go.
Intercept that's coming out.
Okay.
Later on in the year.
Okay.
With Michael Parra in it. For those who know Michael Parra.
Mm-hmm.
I already did one called Renegades with Danny Trejo and Lee Majors. That's been out for a couple of years now.
Okay.
So, and more stuff to come, man. A couple of things that they told me not to talk about, so I know.
No, I get it. I get it. Let's not.
And also, me and Hutch plan on doing.
Let's not screw up the deals.
A short film together.
Okay.
So, yeah.
No, listen, man. I'm glad you said that. You know what I mean? Because that's another one of the things that we do over here with in Media Made. You know what I mean? So you know, we got a couple of writers over here, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Screenwriters. Big shout out to my man Ferrell. Ferrell, baby, listen, keep doing what you do, man. You know what I mean? Like, and so we too over here are tapping into the movie lane. You know what I mean? And so, you know, when they come up here, they look around, everybody be like, well, listen, man, we doing things too around here. You know what I mean? We understand. We ain't gonna just let that get away from us. See what I'm saying? So we absolutely gonna tap in, man, with you. You know what I mean? We got a play in motion right now. We got a theatrical play that we actually putting together right now called Poetry in Motion. We absolutely gonna give you some information about this. Because you said you got bit by the bug. Yeah. So we want to also expand your palette. Yes, you know what I mean? Because I know Shug got a loud voice, you know what I'm saying? And you got that look, you know what I mean? Like I ain't, you know what I mean? You got that certain look, you know what I mean? So we absolutely gonna include you in that, man. Absolutely, man. And some of the things that we doing, man. And I just want to say, man, I thank you for coming out, man. You know what I'm saying? Man, listen, man. You know that goes without even saying. Anytime, anything that you need from us, man, you know, like saying, I need you to bang this on Media Made Music. I'm like, send it. You know what I mean? And y'all gonna be mad at me because I'm gonna be playing back to backs. You know what I mean? For 3 or 4 hours. I can do what I want. It's mine. So I own it. You know what I mean? Right. And you know, so we can do what we want to do, man. You know what I mean? And not only that, man, once y'all get the video done, make sure you get it over to us, man, because, you know, we get it up on Media Made TV.
Okay.
We're broadcasting out. You know what I mean? We just not doing, for all you listeners out there, we just not doing YouTube and all that. You know what I mean? We got a couple of OTT channels. You know what I mean?
Right.
We stream it to the world. You know what I mean? You just hit the button and everybody can see it. So anyway, Shug, just send it over, man, and we gonna make it go, baby. You know what I mean? And of course, you know, we always got Media Made Music. You know, we do that, man, and of course, man, we'll punch it in, you know what I mean, on the different things that we do with the different social media channels that we do our things on, man. So once again, before we go, man, no. Let me back up. Maybe I'm moving a little fast right now. Let me slow it down a little bit, okay? I got a question though for you.
Yeah.
If you had an opportunity to perform with an artist, dead or alive, past or present, music or in the acting field. See, I just added some shit right there, Sonny. You see that?
Yeah, I see.
Who would that be and why?
Oh man, dead or alive, man. perform with.
Yeah.
Wow. Perform with. Probably, as far as performance on stage, probably Heavy D.
Okay.
Heavy D. I was a huge Heavy D fan, man.
Yeah.
Heavy was a performer, man. Like, that dude was big, but he could perform his butt off. You know what I mean? Yeah. And now acting, Denzel, man.
Oh, okay.
Denzel.
Yeah, if you're gonna reach for, if you're gonna reach for the show, then try to get to the top shelf. Shit, why not? You know,
sky's the limit. Why stop halfway?
You know what I mean? Listen, you know what I mean? Absolutely, man. So before we go, man, I need you to once again, man, shout out and plug everything and everybody, man, that's helped you get to the place to where you are today. And then I also need you to shout out all your social media information, man, for when people can tap in with you, man. You know what I mean? So do what you do, baby.
Yeah, first of all, shout out to y'all, man.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate y'all for having me here, and appreciate what y'all doing around the Valley, period, around Arizona, period. Man, for all the artists, not just for myself, man.
Absolutely.
But for everybody, man. So that's huge, man. But other than that, man, of course, God, it all starts with him, man. So got to get that. And then shout out to everybody. You know, I can't use a list of people, so I ain't gonna say every name, but shout out to everybody. You know who you are.
Right.
As far as the music, man, they can find me on Spotify, all the music platforms. Instagram is at Shug Music. Facebook is at Shug Jackson. And that's pretty much it for me, man. TikTok, all that stuff. Everything's Shug Jackson and Shug Music. So
okay. Yeah. Y'all heard it first right here on Media Made Music. Happy Easter, everybody, man. Make sure y'all tap in, man, to everything that Shug just said, man, to all his social media sites. And you know what I mean? And the man got some really, really good music, man. Y'all need to really, really, really support this brother. You know what I mean? And tap in, man.
Bringing that substance back, man.
Bringing that substance back, man. And then in the meantime, you know what I mean? In between time, make sure you always go to MediaMadeMusic.com, MediaMadeMagazine.com, MediaMadeTV.com. You know what I mean? And I got this myself, Sangria, you know, producing today. We got a producer in the building right now. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can't see it, but we got Sonny Mills in the building right there today producing. You know what I'm saying? So listen, like I said, once again, man, make sure y'all tap in with us, man. And we always here to support the culture, man. Peace.